The next step in this project is to rebuild or replace all the seals in the transmission. I think the transmission is probably still good. It seems pretty tight and nice still, but when I get in there I'll find out if I have to buy any new parts. Hopefully not. But I bought a whole new set of seals, and I'm going to replace all the seals in this because it's a lot easier to do it now than you know, a week from now or a year from now when I've got the thing all put back together again. I have to take it all apart again to get back to this point. So as long as I've got it here, I'm going to replace these seals and have it ready to go. I want to get this thing as close to fully functional or new as possible so that I don't have to spend all my time repairing it, which is always a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take this all apart and get onto it.
Warning, this video may contain scenes of extreme untidiness. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, happily enough, this transmission looks really good on the inside. I think it was recently rebuilt, sometime before I got it, obviously. But it was a little trouble. There's a little rust on this pin up here, and it was a little hard to get off. But I'm not even going to pull off the clutch assembly. I don't have the proper tool to do it, or it's jammed on there somehow. But it all looks pretty good. It wasn't leaking out of that seal, and that's the top seal anyway, so it's not the biggest potential leak. Anyways, it was these two lower ones I really want to replace. And this gasket around the outside is pretty bad, and I'll have to replace that. And I bought a new one of those, obviously. But if you look at this thing, this is really well built. This transmission could handle way more horsepower than this little 250 is putting out, and a lot of people have put much bigger engines on these. But if you look at the size of this chain that's driving it, this is just massive. I mean, this is like the chain on a super street bike. You know, it's just really heavy-duty chain, so you could probably handle, you know, 2 or 3 times as much horsepower easily. And all these teeth on these gears look perfect. No wear visible at all. The bearings are all smooth and clean. So I'm just going to put this sucker back together, put the 2 new seals in the bottom, put the gasket around the outside. I have to scrape this old one off. It's pretty cemented on there, so it's going to take a little bit to clean that off. But otherwise, this is in really good condition. I'm pretty happy about that. I've got the transmission completely put back together, and I was hoping not to have to mess with the drum brake for the parking brake, but it was in such bad condition I had to take it apart, and it's still pretty bad, but I'm not going to worry about it too much because it's just a parking brake. It doesn't actually do the majority of the braking for you. The bearing holder was just super rough and full of dirt, so I had to take that all apart, and I didn't buy new seals for it, but these seals look pretty good. It just was full of dirt, so I cleaned them off and re-greased the entire system. And now I'm going to reassemble this whole mess. This portion of it, the rotator pin that expands the brake pads, was just totally seized in there. It wouldn't move at all. So I had to pull that out and clean it off. But it looks like it'll work pretty well now. I just put a little bit of grease on it, and it should be good to go. So we're going to get this all reassembled, and then I'm probably going to be done for the day.